Where did it go? Here. So I'm gonna ping you in here, Lee, so that you can have a look, because I want to make sure. So basically, the issue looks like related to that spec mocking the what was it? The lib GraphQL import, and then it's also mounting the sidebar component, which is going to mount my component, which includes lib GraphQL.
Okay, so it's doing that all in here, is it, Mount? So I can see we're mocking the sidebar. So can you bring? Oh, you sent me something. Let me have a look.
Okay, yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is a very tricky one because I don't really fully understand how to solve this.
Yeah, so, and I'm not really I'm familiar with the front end feature specs, the Ruby ones, but not massively familiar with these ones. So it's trying to render this bit of init show, render GFM. I'm kind of missing some context as to where this actually.
Yeah,
Because we're mocking stuff, but where do we ever? So we create HTML fixture, and init show. What? Oh, okay. So that's coming from milestone/index, milestone index .js. Right, okay. And there should be an init show method in perfect. Okay. And this basically mounts the sidebar.
yes.
Cool. But then you're saying that there's something somewhere.
I'm trying to set up locally so that I can
Cool.
see with you because I'm a little bit behind.
I mean, one of the things, it might be cheating, but let me just have a quick look. If I closed it, I don't know. Yeah, I've cheated before and just kind of added a VF to prevent the component being mounted. Yeah, so if we just added a VF to this.
Oh, I actually. Okay, it's definitely related to that just mock of the milestone sidebar, because I commented that out from the spec and the spec passed.
So how do you feel about cheating and just you can see me, right? So I'm just trying to think what the criteria would be. Somewhere in here, I think we know what the issuable type is, don't we?
What does the VF do?
So VF just conditionally renders whatever the tag is. So you can sort of say, like, don't render this div if this criteria isn't true, or don't render this child component, or whatever you want to call it. So that's not quite what I want, is it? Somewhere I thought that we knew. Wow, we've got a full house today, haven't we? So we got what? Right, there we go. We can use that, can't we? How about we just do this? So I
can
think,
try.
yeah, give that. Are you at a position to be able to share your screen at all, or not really?
Yeah, I can. Yes, I can.
We'll hide mine.
So let me share mine. Okay. Just the moment that I get your suggestion.
So do you want me to show it or not yet?
1 second. If is okay, you can show it. There's no issue.
Awesome.
This set time estimate form. Okay. So this is with your suggestion. So I will undo my change in here. Also, I wonder, since the test still passes even if we remove the mock, I wonder if that's one of the possible solutions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I closed the wrong file.
Yeah, I guess it just means maybe the test's doing a little bit more than it needs to do, but
Yeah, exactly.
if it fixes it, then, you know.
Exactly. So let me open this one again. Okay, so this is the spec that's failing. If I run this now with your change, still the same problem.
That's interesting. I wonder why.
Why is this mounting it?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
That time estimate form is time report supported. Should request. And the milestone should
If you remove your component entirely for a moment, just kind of cut that.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't, from what I understood, it's not related to the component being mounted. It's that it's importing, my component is importing the GraphQL, and something inside here is trying to mock that GraphQL.
Let me just look at the MR again.
By the way, I tried with basically commenting that component out, and it still errors out.
Yeah.
I'm trying now to remove the import. And that works. So the
Okay.
import is the issue.
So that's really interesting. So just by importing the component, even when you're not using it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um,
And wait, let me quickly hide something again. I want to check. So just mock those, just to try to auto mock this thing. So I also wonder, why do they mock an entire component?
let me just get that spec up again. Yeah, I don't really know what they're mocking.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I want to try to remove all those mocks and see what happens. And it's failed.
So what's the test? So it's testing that render GFM.
That's testing. Oh, render GFM. It's mocking the Markdown editor.
I'm just trying to understand how this relates to, like, why we need the milestone. Okay, so it's the milestone description.
Also, this is quite recent because it's only 2 months old.
It's tempting just to remove the mock that makes it work.
Yeah, I am as well, because actually I'm going to try and add those mocks,
One at a time.
yeah, and see which one is actually needed. So without the right sidebar and the milestone sidebar mocks, it still works. To be honest, I don't know why they are even mocking those.
Is it worth looking at the history of the file to see when they were added and then maybe
Yeah,
they were just left by accident?
no, maybe, but they were added 2 months ago when they actually created this spec.
So
Oh,
they've been in there since the beginning.
I see.
I would suggest that they're purely there to stop this spec doing a load of stuff that it just doesn't need to do.
Probably.
We're just saying all we're interested in checking is that render GFM is called with the milestone description, and therefore we don't care about the sidebar. What I think I'm interested in is that the mock side. So go back to your VS Code for a minute, Marco.
Yeah.
Which line, if you uncomment, which one was it that actually fixed it? Was it the mocking of right sidebar or mount
Yeah,
sidebar?
it should be mount side milestone sidebar. Yeah.
Okay, so it's still working. So my expectation is that mocking mount milestone sidebar should prevent the sidebar being mounted, which should
Yeah.
prevent your component being mounted and everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to know why.
I'm trying to see the MR, but
So why, if we mock, so what is it we're mocking? Mount. What was this? Spec front end, So
I'll try to see on the MR if there's maybe more background.
I would have thought if we mock the call to that,
The call to what?
well, the one that's already been mocked, the one that's breaking or fixing it, depending on which way you look at it, then the sidebar should never be mounted. So it should never get anywhere near that component. So how is it actually? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not entirely following, mostly because I'm trying to do two things at the same time.
Okay.
Just 1 second. I'm trying to see if I can find the MR. Why? Why this commit doesn't seem related to an MR?
Are you looking in the community forks?
No, I'm looking in the.
Looking at the main one.
Yeah. It's open. Oh, there's a parent. Oh, okay.
Still not related though, is it?
EMR.
Oh yeah, you are in the community forks at the moment. If you go to the, if you change the URL here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. To GitLab org.
Yep, that should hopefully.
Okay. This makes more sense. 3 MRs?
Is that because you went to, I don't know if you went to parent or not, but.
No, I'm on that commit,
Cool.
and it's related to 3 different MRs.
Regardless, I'm just looking at the spec and trying to understand what it's doing, and I think the idea is that we're mocking everything that we're not interested in testing. I'll share my screen in a second if that's all right.
Oh, maybe I know why it's related to 3 MRs. 2 of those are closed.
Gotcha.
So let's see if there's some discussion in here.
I'll just pull your, I'm going to pull your branch down quickly.
Yeah. Oh, there's a comment in here. So the author had to mock other JavaScript classes to get the init show method to work. But maybe not all of those are actually needed. Yeah, I think they can be. Well, I think those two mocks can be removed because the author did say that they were needed to make the method work, but they're not, and they didn't mention anything about not mounting the sidebar to avoid mounting the sidebar for other reasons.
Right.
Yeah, I'm tempted to remove those.
It's weird because it looks like the mock isn't working to me.
What are you trying to do?
So let me show you my screen for a moment. There I am. So maybe the mock is working, but I've gone even as far as removing. So I think these are all the things that we're not really interested in.
Yeah.
All we're trying to test is that this is called
Okay.
in our test. So that's why we're kind of trying to mock all of these things.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, even when I say, okay, let's pretend the mocks aren't working, let's just get rid of these things altogether. So all the init show does is try to call this.
Yeah.
And I still get the same failure. And looking at the stack trace,
Yeah, because it's not related to the code itself. It's like the imports are the problem. So if you do remove the imports for milestone sidebar and mount milestone sidebar, that could work. But then you also have to remove
but I
the.
thought mocking like this and this would mean that when this import is called, it imports like the mock, basically imports
Oh,
nothing. That's how I thought it worked, but I guess that's not the case.
oh, I see what you mean.
I thought that was the whole point of it, but maybe it imports the real thing or tries to import the real thing, and it's only when you then call something inside of it that the mock takes effect.
Yeah, maybe that's it, because the import is a compiler thing while the mock is a runtime thing. Yeah, this is.
So, do you just go with a simple solution then and just
I am tempted to remove those two mocks because this spec is still working, and get feedback from someone on the front end team.
I'm just going to say, I'm guessing there's going to be no rhyme nor reason for how long this takes.
Are you trying to run all the specs?
I just want to see if there's any noticeable difference.
Oh, in timing?
Yeah,
Oh, it's basically instantaneous.
I think it's too erratic to actually determine, to be honest. But I thought that by mocking right sidebar, which is which is then called sidebar, new sidebar. So when we new it up, I suppose it doesn't do a lot, right? It just adds some listeners. But
Yeah.
we're not interested in testing. We don't care about this for our testing, so it kind of makes sense why we're stubbing or mocking. So I'm slightly tempted to say just remove that one. You could look at it one of two ways, right? Well, it's not doing any harm in it being there, so there's no need to mock it. Or at the same time, you can say, well, we don't need it. We don't need to load it. So let's mock it. But I think you can safely get it fixes a problem, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can try to remove that and run the pipeline and make sure that everything works, but that's removing that from that spec. I mean, that spec is not used anywhere else. So running that spec alone or in the pipeline shouldn't be any different.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, I would just remove that single mock for the time being and roll with that.
I remove that and leave a comment to the reviewer to see maybe if since it works, also removing the other mock to see if can remove.
Yeah, and maybe you could ask the question about like saying, should mocking it not prevent the import from importing the real thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or is there a way to prevent the import from importing the real thing and causing it to explode?
Yeah.
Because again, surely just by importing, so the one that was causing problems was
The milestone sidebar.
milestone sidebar, right?
Yeah. Because that's importing time tracker, which
But again, if surely if we're just by importing it, it would only be if we actually called this, right, and actually used it and did something with it. Like this code shouldn't be executed, should it, just by importing?
No, but I see what you mean. But
so yeah, I wouldn't have thought until you knew it up. Well, no, that's not that one, is it? Sidebar milestone. Where that's actually used. Sorry, yeah, this one. Yeah, so that's my biggest question. Why is, because this is the method that ultimately is causing it to explode.
yeah.
And so why by mocking it,
It breaks.
yeah, and even as I say, by removing this, it's the import that's causing it to explode. And
Yeah.
why would it cause it to explode? Because again, you're then saying we're importing this, which is that, I mean, it's really deep down the rabbit hole, isn't it? Because you're importing this, and then it's actually this one that's causing the problem, right?
Yeah.
So this, which is importing this.
And also, I might.
Where? But then where is it? What was causing it to?
The lib GraphQL that I import at the beginning.
Okay, maybe it does make sense then. So it's this import that's called. So it's before we even call anything.
Yeah.
So there's something in here.
And it was, let me find the error.
Now it makes total sense. It's this one, isn't it? It's this one here.
I think so. Let me check.
Okay, now I understand it.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do, because let me try and talk you through it if this is what I've got. So this is what the spec is kind of loading, this index.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
defined property. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
This index imports this mount milestone sidebar. This mount milestone sidebar imports time tracker.
Yeah.
This time tracker imports set time estimate form.
Yeah.
This time estimate form imports libgraphql.
Yes.
And libgraphql, it doesn't export. It actually just where is it? It just does this. This is just in the body of the JavaScript.
Oh, so it's executed at the import.
Exactly. Exactly that.
Oh.
So I think we might be able to mock this instead, mate. Oh, still don't know if that would help.
That's really deep down the rabbit hole, and I am afraid that someone else might encounter this problem.
Just try that. Boom. There you go.
Okay.
I don't know whether I prefer that as a solution or not.
This is not really solving the problem, to me at least, because
Why not?
because yeah, it does solve the issue, but I wonder if it could be done differently so that we don't incur into this issue again. I mean, if you know what it's happening, it's all right. But me, for example, I didn't even understand what the issue was. I thought it was a broken master the first time I saw the error, because it was completely unrelated to my changes. At least I thought so.
So let me get this right. It was complaining about redefining this, wasn't it?
Yeah, I do have the error here. Yeah, it's getting redefined. Can't we just check if that's already included?
The only problem with that is, could you be masking a problem? Like, you know, if it is already defined, it raises some questions. Why is it already defined? Like, the only scenario where it could already be just defined would probably be in the tests where we've presumably mocked it. It's a good question, actually. Why is it already defined? Do we know that?
Okay, so from the answer on Slack,
Yep.
basically libgraphql is imported twice because Jest it's running its own internal automock, and we do import that file another time in my component in this case. So basically it's importing that twice.
Gotcha. Yeah, that. I think you can ask the reviewer or maintainer for direction, but at least I feel a lot happier now having understood it.
Yeah, that makes total sense now. But yeah, I will definitely ask the reviewer to see what's the best way to do it, because it's true that, at least as far as I know, this issue happened only twice. Yeah. Yeah, I will make the change and ask the reviewer.
Cool. Apparently I'm running out of battery and I don't know why. Have you got anything else for 10, 15 minutes?
Not from my side, at least.
Anyone else got anything that they're working on that could, bearing in mind we've only got 15 minutes to go? Okay. Well, I can guarantee I've always got something. So,
I was curious.
far away. Is it Alfonso?
Yes.
Far away.
So this is the integration group, and I take it group helps with third-party apps or services integrating their systems with the GitLab.
No, we're just kind of the community contributor pairing, essentially. So if you're contributing to the GitLab code base in any way, shape or form, if you're building an integration, I'm sure we'd be happy to provide a little bit of support as well. But primarily we're looking to support community contributions to the GitLab project or satellite project surrounding it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's mainly what I wanted to verify or understand what the group did.
Yeah. Are you sort of a third-party integrator then, or?
I'm sorry, iPhone notification drowned you out. Say again?
Are you a third-party integrator, or?
Yes. I'm developing a developer tool set that I want to integrate or have developers access the repos that they have on GitLab.
Okay, cool. Maybe Discord's a good place. I guess you got this link from our Discord server, so pop some questions in there and we'll see if it's something that we can help with or that interests us, or whether there's anyone else that's maybe interested.
Will do. Thank you.
Awesome, you're welcome. Maybe I'll just quickly take this opportunity to promote the product sessions, actually the office hours that we've been organising. I think we've got 6 locked in. So over the coming 8 or 9 weeks, we've managed to tie down 6, 7, however many of the groups to kind of run their own live pairing and just kind of intro to the team. Quick AMA and then some live pairing. So hopefully they're going to look at some of their quick wins and do similar sessions, but it won't be quite so focused on what me or Marco are working on, but a more fair spread of some of the different teams.
Okay. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know that I'm specifically in the middle. I'm always in the middle of something, so I'd be amazed if there isn't an MR we can dive into. Dare I go back to our GitLab UI one, Marco?
Oh,
I suppose you could just you had a suggestion, didn't you? A recommendation.
oh yeah, I didn't have time to try that out, but yeah.
So let me just have a look. I think I opened up the.
Well, in the
So I'm
meantime,
not.
I'd
Go on.
be. I need to make a call. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm not going to give too much context on this one because it'll take a little while. But essentially, let me spin up the project quickly. So we've got our GitLab UI suite of components. Here we go. And I'm just going to spin that environment up quickly while that's loading. So one of our more complex components is the filtered search. So super snazzy filtered search that allows us to pick from a bunch of different search filters. And we're wanting to add a date picker to this. So we've got a reasonable way to success. So date filter. And then we've got our calendar picker, and that's all working reasonably nicely. Or we can type in if we want. All good. But the MR isn't as elegant, let's say, as we would like it to be. So from what I understand, using this.refs should be avoided where possible. It's kind of maybe accessing internal component APIs from outside of the component. Do you agree with that explanation, Marco?
Almost, yeah. Oh, sorry, I'll be right back.
To be fair, it is lunchtime, so we can let him off. So yeah, I think Marco had a suggestion at the moment. We're not even just reaching into one component from outside. We're actually reaching into one component and then inside of a child of that to call a method. So it's this is the filtered search. The filtered search loads a filtered search token, and then the filtered search token loads a filtered search token segment. So we're reaching right into there. Just haven't had a chance to look at Marco's suggestion to maybe not quite violate so many best practices. Method on filtered search token. Okay, I think I understand what Marco is suggesting. So we will still be doing the same thing, but we'll expose a method on this component that we can call, and that component will then access this component and call this internal method. So it's essentially doing the same thing, but each component is only reaching down one level. So it's not quite as tightly coupled, but still reasonably tightly coupled. I could try that quickly. So filtered search. So this here. Where is it? This one there. So filtered search token.
Sorry, I'm from back.
So I was just reading my interpretation of your suggestion. So
Okay.
first of all, you had a slightly different explanation, did you, about this whole kind of best practice about using internal API, like calling internal component APIs from outside of the component?
Yes, because I thought that we can use refs to access components that are directly inside of our component.
So you think that's sort of okay or fine, or like in the scheme of good to bad?
I think that's kind of okay. What I think it's kind of a stretch is accessing the ref inside of the ref.
Awesome. So all you're suggesting really is to kind of create a method inside this component that
Yes.
reaches inside to this component.
Yes.
And then we only have to go one step. Awesome. I'll give it a quick go, I guess. So I'm just, so I presume I set a new ref. Yeah. So filtered search token segment. So I set this new ref up in here. So all we're really suggesting is we create a new method in here. I presume this is the methods. Yep. So the method will be apply suggestion.
I would call it apply data suggestion, because doing this way we could automate also the operator and the token.
Okay. And I presume we're passing it a value. Let me open up some more stuff. So select value. So yeah, we're calling apply suggestion, and we're passing it a value. Yeah. So and all this needs to do is do this bit.
Yeah.
Passing the value, and we can move this bit. Simple as that.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
Never is.
And you didn't save all the files.
Thank you.
That wouldn't have worked.
If it did, it would have been worrying. Created after.
Oh, because it's apply. Oh, GitLab. Yeah, because the method is different. It's apply data suggestion.
Of course it is. Thank you.
And that's on me because I made you change the name.
You're blaming yourself, are you? Let's promise him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what if you go back to the calendar now that you changed the date? Okay, that's the right value. Awesome.
Yeah, looks good to me. And your only other question was about the slots, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I didn't know if they were needed. Because from the video, I saw that you clicked and I didn't really understand if you were clicking on the icon or on the text. But
Yeah.
looking at the code,
Yeah.
it doesn't have any handler. So.
Yeah, so it really was just to try and mimic as much as possible. So if we go onto the date picker, I know you're going to pick a few more holes in it, but so this kind of look and feel where we tend to have the input box and then the date picker, and you click on the date picker to activate the calendar. That would have been a little bit of a stretch, because I did initially try and I think I used GL button or GL icon or something, and you could click on this. But as soon as you lose focus on the input box, it essentially destroys the component.
Yes.
So if we did this and then we clicked on a button, this would all vanish. So it's a bit of a cheating, a bit of a hacky approach.
Yeah.
That we just kind of underlay this or overlay this, or whatever you want to call it, over the top of the input, and therefore clicking on either the calendar itself or clicking on just the input box will bring up the calendar widget. That seemed like a reasonable enough solution for now.
Yeah.
And I put it on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side because the input box is actually
way bigger.
Exactly that. Getting it to freeze was a pain, so I'm not going to bother. But yeah, you're right. It goes all the way to there. So it'd be hovering over here somewhere. So I thought that seemed like a reasonable enough suggestion.
By the way, I don't know if you knew, but you know that there's actually two different date picker components on GLUI.
Did I know that? What, the date range picker or?
No, the form date, I think it is.
Oh.
Because this one is using the built-in date picker from the browser.
Uh-huh.
So it's not using pick a day.
Interesting. And the interesting thing about this as well is that it looks like this. It does lose focus still though, doesn't it? Oh, that hasn't even really got focus, has it?
I don't know.
It's really interesting, that one. I wonder if this prevents you from putting stupid things.
Yes, it does, because it's setting the type of the input to be a date, I think. So it's the browser that's checking.
Too late now, though. I've gone with that one. I think I prefer it very slightly, right? I don't know. But then I guess I just need to tidy up the MR. And can we even write tests? I guess we can test that it renders whatever we put in the slot. I don't know about testing because we don't normally test method, so we would have to do a kind of integration type test.
Yeah, the only test that you could maybe write is one that opens up the date picker and picks a day and make sure that the value is set, but that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, because that's a real kind of because all this stuff is in the template, so this isn't actually in the GitLab UI component itself.
And to be honest, do we have some kind of built-in tokens already in GitLab UI?
We just have token, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking so that we don't have to basically redo all of this on GitLab, if it was worth creating a date picker token. That's basically the exact same thing that you wrote on the example.
I think it makes sense actually, because this isn't specific to the GitLab project in any way, shape, or form, really, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And that way,
Also, I can reuse that.
well, no, that makes total sense. It's just a case, I guess, of like, would we be happy to go with exactly the template that I've used? I've also used this styling, which is probably a taboo as well, isn't it?
Is it?
Inline style. I'm not sure whether you should always be using CSS classes or.
Oh, okay.
But I guess if I'm converting this into a component, maybe I'll ping a maintainer on the GitLab UI project for a bit more direction. But I think it's headed in the right.
Yeah.
It's working, which is the first one.
Yes, that's definitely better than what we had last week.
Absolutely. Awesome. I've got a dash now. Thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to jump on again next week, feel free to bring a problem, an issue, a merge request, and me, Marco, whoever will be more than happy to help.
Yep.
Have a great day.